I grew up swimming. My dad never came to any of our meets, and yet there was a part of me that always wanted to do well to please him.
My real dad never came to swim meets either, and I always wanted to show him that I could do it and like show him that I was good enough for him. In the end, that was just hurting me more than pleasing him.
Hey, Connor, thanks for coming in and telling us a little bit about yourself. Where were you a year ago or 2 years ago? What was going on that kind of got us to this point?
I had a lot of family conflict. I struggled a lot with abandonment with my real dad.
What happened to your real dad?
So when I was younger, he had my mom and my birth dad didn't get along, and so when I was 5, I think they split up, and then we had been seeing him every other weekend, stuff like that, normal. And then one day he decided to remarry, and he had 2 kids later, and then he decided that it was better if we just lived with my mom. So a lot of the reasons I'm here is because of abandonment, feeling like I had been abandoned and that he didn't love me and he wanted to start over.
Wow. Was that true?
I mean, part of me believes that it is, but I know, deep down I know, and people have been telling me that it's not true. It was his choice. It's not because of me. My mom had given me a lot of, I've been to counseling a lot for those situations, just because I tend to be I tend to overthink things sometimes.
Yeah.
But
so how did you respond then? I mean, because now you're 16, right?
Right. I've noticed that it's actually bothered me more now than it did when I was younger. When I was younger, I thought, oh, this is good. I get to live with my mom now. Because there were times my real dad would do things that weren't he would, if we did something wrong, he would lock us in our room and wouldn't feed us and for all day and stuff like that.
Wow.
And so, but I knew he loved us in a way. And so I still felt more secure with him. So, at the time I remember thinking, this is great. And I even told my mom about it. She talked to me about how I was so positive about it. I mean, there was part of me that was hurting from it, obviously.
Sure.
But now I'm noticing more of the deep down feeling of abandonment and I wasn't good enough for him now than I did then. So
yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the last time you saw him was when?
Maybe a few years ago, because actually I ran into him, but I decided to we had run into his family. So that was kind of really hard for me. Actually, we were at a restaurant and we ran into him, and I refused to see him because I just felt, and my mom actually told me that she was proud of me because I had stood up knowing that it might not have been the best for me if I had seen him.
Yeah.
But I basically, part of the reason it was really unhealthy was because I took care of my sister, and my brother has autism, and he's 18 right now, but at the time he was 11 or whatever. I basically took care of him and stuff like that because he wasn't really taking care of them.
Yeah.
So I'm really close to my sister and my brother.
Yeah.
But when we ran into him, my sister talked to him and stuff like that. But I was just so hurt, and I realized how hurt I was when I saw him. I realized the sinking feeling that I was whoa, I haven't seen him in forever.
Wow.
Bringing stuff back. But
wow. When you're a little kid, what happens is you think of things concretely.
Yes, sir.
Your dad leaves, and so now you have to be the man of the family. You've got to help out mom. Mom's going to get a new job.
You got to step in and be that.
Yeah, step in. You got to feed the dog. I mean, I think you think of things concretely, and then when you turn 12 or 13, usually you move and start thinking abstractly. Why would my dad abandon me? Why would he leave me?
Mm-hmm.
He'll never come to a swim meet and watch me swim. He won't be at my wedding. He won't see me when I go to prom. You're just thinking in the future. He won't hold his grandkids.
Right. When you're younger, you don't think of
You don't.
Right.
And it's because now you're thinking, so you begin to think that now you're more messed up than when you were 5 years old. And that's not true. I mean, I think God just kind of designs us to not be able to take everything in all at once. And, we kind of cut up our losses into these doable doses. And so then you get 13, 14, and you start thinking differently about it. And so you see your dad differently now.
Right.
But you also see new feelings that you've never had. Mm-hmm. And it's trying to figure those things out, Okay, so when you swim, you've done pretty well in swimming, haven't you? Yeah, and I know you swim butterfly, right?
Yes, sir.
You're built like a butterfly. But you do well. I grew up swimming. My dad never came to any of our meets, and yet there was a part of me that always wanted to do well to please him. You ever have any of those feelings?
Absolutely. My real dad never came to swim meets either.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to show him that I could do it and show him that I was good enough for him. But in the end, that was just hurting me more than pleasing him.
I'm 66 years old, and I still think about it at times. That why wasn't I valuable enough?
I tend to go back all the time and think about how I could have done something different.
Yeah.
Or how this one, little mistake could have changed everything, or one little decision. So.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It had nothing to do with you.
Right.
And that's where you think that it does have something to do with you, it doesn't. There's probably other things going on. And it wasn't anything, like with my dad, it wasn't anything that I did. It was something that was about him. And so the same way in this. You're a wonderful young man.
Thank you.
Golly. I'm going, anybody be proud to have you as a son. And I go, so there must be something else going on. But the tendency is, if you don't know that, if you avoid that, or you walk away from it, then you never find out those things.
Right.
And, my hope one day is that you'll be able to sit down with your dad and just have a man-to-man conversation.
And I've always thought about that day that I'm going to sit down with him and finally talk to him if I ever get that chance. And some days I'm like, oh, things I could say to him, or the things I could tell him.
Yeah.
But then I'm realizing what the most important thing is forgiveness, because not only is it going to help me, but it's going to help me move past everything.
Yeah.
So me forgiving him, I remember the day I forgave him, and it was really hard for me. I remember crying about it, but I forgave him for what he had done and how he treated us and things like that. But there were days where I just cried because I missed him, because I knew he was my real dad, knew that I still had love, a loving relationship with him, even though it was hard. So.
Yeah. Forgiveness is giving up hope that you'll ever have a better past. Can't change anything behind it.
It's a great way to say it.
Yeah, but you can learn a lot from it too, and it'll make you a better dad as a result of it. And so I think that's, those are the lessons you learn. But what one question would you ask your dad if he would walk in the door and sit down and you got to ask him one question? What would you ask him?
There's a lot I'd ask him, but if I had to pick one, it'd probably be why? I don't know. I really want to know why he chose to let us go.
Yeah.
Because my mom had always talked to me about how, she never understood how he could just give up his kids.
Yeah.
And that was really hard for me to think about too.
Yeah.
But, yes, sir. I think I'd say, out of all of it, I'd probably ask why.
Yeah. So you're on a trek now. What are you wanting to accomplish while you're here?
I want to accomplish deep, emotional things that I'm feeling, because I have a lot of depression with a loss and stuff like that. I had moved schools, and so I had to make new friends and things like that. So I had been struggling with loneliness a lot.
Yeah. So your involvement here at Heartlight is not because you've been doing all these stupid things. It's more of an internal thing. Would that be right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Well, God bless you for wanting to resolve those things and not carry it on to college or onto your marriage or anything. It's good to resolve those things now.
And that's that's part of the reason I felt like God wanted me to come here, was because dealing with it now is going to help it so much easier in the future.
Yeah.
And I can learn from things now instead of learn things when I've already made decisions that I regret.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Connor, you're a good man.
Thank you.
You're a good man. Hey, thanks for coming in and being a part of this, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thanks.